record it. Okay, I share my screen. All right. So yesterday we completed with the qualifying child 4 tests, right? Relationship test, residency, age test, and support test. Before that, we started with you know type of filing status. In that, we have completed married filing joint, married filing separate, qualifying child and qualifying relative definition was there in what HOH status, right? Head of household and qualifying surviving spouse. What was the one major difference between QSS and HOH? Can anyone tell me how you can identify whether you want to go for QSS or HOH? QSS is qualifying surviving spouse and HOH is head of household. What was the major difference, guys? Anyone?
So for QSS, we need a qualified child.
Yes.
For yeah.
For how many time? For whole year or for half year?
More than half year.
Whole year.
Full year it should.
Full year. Okay.
And HOH it should be qualifying child or qualifying relative for half year. Okay, this is the main difference. You need to remember it thoroughly. They will twist the question based on this only. If anything is asked on filing status, this is the main thing which you have to remember. Okay, so let's continue with our today's topic, that is dependency status. In that, we have already completed with the qualifying child yesterday. Okay, now there are some additional rules. Even if, okay, someone has asked a question, QSS is only for children and HOH is for qualifying. Yes, correct, Mohit. It's for both relative and children. What are the additional rules in case of qualifying child? While 4 qualifying child tests generally apply, that is this 4 tests. Okay, what are the 4 tests? Relationship, age test, support test, and residency. Residency means till what time they are living with the taxpayer. 5 tax benefit noted above. There are some additions, okay, or variations for a particular provisions. Means there has to be additional conditions to be met along with that. First one is nationality. The child should be either a citizen or a national or a resident of US, Canada, Mexico. Okay, always remember for US taxation, the first filing requirement is very simple. You should be either US citizen or US resident. Okay, or if you are a non-resident, you should be earning some money. Like if you are liable to pay tax in US, then only you have to file the 1040 return. Okay, here you have to file the 1040 normal return. Same way, if you're claiming a dependent, for that dependent, you need to check the residency status. If that dependent is a non-resident, you can't claim him as a dependent. Okay, so he or she should be a US citizen, national, US national, resident of maybe Canada or Mexico. That will be fine. Okay, US, Canada, Mexico resident is fine. Okay, there is an exception for certain adopted child. Now, this thing we will learn later on. When a child is adopted, they can be a foreign child also. From a foreign country, you can adopt a child. Okay, so if that child is living with you after adoption, that person will be eligible. Means this nationality test, there is an exception in case of adopted child. Okay, next is marital status. If married and did not file a joint return for that year, unless the return is filed only as for claiming for a refund, and no tax liability would exist for either spouse if they had filed a separate return. Now, additional rule in that, what they are saying for marital status is, whenever you file a return, let's say the dependent whom you are going to claim, qualifying child, qualifying relative, he is filing a return as a jointly with another person. Okay, if joint return is being filed with another person, but this has to be only and only for claiming the refund. There is no tax payment or anything. This is for claiming the refund. Why they will claim the refund? Previously this person might have some withholding taxes. Okay, what is withholding taxes? Let's say you are uh, doing a job, you are earning a wages, okay, or you are earning some income. On that, withholding taxes are being deducted by the employer. Now this taxes are refundable when you file the return, or it is adjusted against your current tax liability. So how this dependent will claim the refund? It is mandatory to file a tax return to claim a refund. Okay, so just for claiming a refund, if he's filing the return with someone else, that's fine. Else the child's qualifying child status should be unmarried. Okay, or they should not be filing the return with someone else. Okay, I'll just summarize it. Child's marital status is fine, but the tax filing status should not be MFJ. Okay, if married, they should not file a joint return for that year unless the return is filed only as to claim for a refund. Only for claiming a refund, if you're filing a joint return, that's fine. Else, you are not allowed to file the return. So first additional condition was what? They should be a US citizen, US resident, US national. Second, the marital status we will check. Even if they are married, they should not file a joint return with someone else. If they are filing a joint return with someone else, what will happen? You can't claim that person as a qualifying child. Now, for specifically HOH filing status, a qualifying child is determined without regard to exception for child of divorce or separated parents. For purpose of HOH, you are not going to check any, divorce person's child status. For QSS, what you're going to check that the child should be your own. Here, it doesn't matter whether your child is own or you are taking care of some other child. Okay, and even if the qualifying child who is married at the end of year must meet the marital status and nationality test for the dependent. For HOH filing status, whenever you are checking the qualifying child or qualifying relative, these two things should be fulfilled. That is nationality test. He should be national resident. And second is marital status test, means he should not file return with someone else. Okay, so these are some additional conditions you should keep in mind. Next one is credit for child and dependent care expense. Now, in US taxation, you are going to get this benefit. What is the benefit actually is, let's say you are claiming a child on your tax return. Any person whose age is less than 13, or if their age is not less than 13, but they are permanently disabled or totally disabled, a qualifying child is determined without regard to exception of children of divorce or separated parents, an exception for kidnapped children. Okay, this I'll tell you later on. First, remember one thing. If a child's age is less than 13 or if a person is permanently disabled, what will happen? For them, you can claim a dependent care expense. Okay, let's say you are incurring expense for their childcare facility, or some expenses related to taking care of the child, and the age is less than 13, you can go for dependent care expense. This we will read in a detail when we do the credits chapter. Okay, but here the age limit is 13 years. What is the age limit for claiming a qualifying child? Anyone remember the age limit? Anyone?
Less
Less,
than 19.
less than 19.
Less than 19.
Yes. Shahid, it's not 17. It is less than 19, means I can say 18 or less. Here they have used the word under the age of 13, means 12 or less. Under the age of 13 means 12 or less. Okay. Same way for child tax credit. If you're going to claim your child as a dependent, you can also receive a child tax credit. And for that, again, the age limit has changed to 17, under 17. So can I say 16 or less? Okay. So these are the three things which we are going to link these two topics with the credits chapter. Next one is EIC, earned income tax credit. Here also you will have to check whether you have a qualifying child or a qualifying relative along with you or not. Okay, so a qualifying child does not have to meet the support test. Any qualifying child, even if it doesn't meet the support test, that's fine. You can claim a EIC credit if you have at least one child. This again I mentioned, we will see it in the credits chapter. EIC credit, child tax credit, and dependent care credit. Okay, so a qualifying child must have lived with the taxpayer. Like all the criteria are again there. They should be living with the taxpayer for half of the year. Okay, they should have a SSN. They should have, or if not SSN, they should have a valid employment in the US. Okay, a qualifying child is determined without regard to exception for children of divorced or separated parents. What is this line actually which is coming again and again? I'll just explain you this because it's there in all the three parts, all the three topics which we did right now. A qualifying child is determined without regard to exception for children of divorce or separated parent. Okay, now let's say Mr. A and Mrs. A, they both are divorced. They both have a child. Okay, so do you remember there was one condition? Who can claim this child? Who is having the highest AGI? Who is with whom the child live with the for higher number of days? Right? These two were the condition which we were looking forward in case of divorced parent who can claim the child. This condition cannot be fulfilled over here. You just need to check the specific criteria which are given over here. Okay, in case of child or dependent care, you are not going to check these three criteria. You will check who is actually paying the expense for the dependent care expense. Okay, this in detail is there in the credits chapter. There are so many criteria, we will look over there. Limits and credits are of 21 or 22. It is 23 for your exam. 23 will apply. See, if you're appearing from, sorry, not Feb, if you're appearing from May 24 to Feb 25, 2023 tax law will apply. So all the limits as per 23 are updated in our book. Okay, once you enroll, I think yesterday 4 people enroll for the course. Once you enroll, you will receive this updated book. Okay, it is still in printing process. We are making some of the corrections and something. So you will not receive exactly just after enrolling into the course. Okay, so keep patience. It is still in printing process. It will take 15 to 16 days to deliver to you, but I will be giving this all thing in PDF, whatever I'm teaching to you guys. Okay, summary book you will receive soon. That I think is almost being printed. Summary book you will receive first, and this regular book you will receive later on after 4 weeks. Okay, I think Vivo phone, I think someone has not renamed the phone, so no worries. Any doubt? Anyone else, guys? All right, let's start with the qualifying relative as a dependent. If you're going to claim a qualifying relative, what are the conditions? Actually, there are so many conditions in this topic. So what we have done, we have categorized into stepwise manner. Okay, so to claim a qualifying relative, you must first meet the dependent taxpayer joint return and citizen or residence test. Dependent taxpayer test means what? You should not be a dependent on someone else's return. Second is you should not file a joint return with someone else. Okay, this is what it is mentioned over here. You should not be a dependent on someone else's return. You should not file a joint return with someone else. Okay, and you should be a citizen or a resident. 3 tests first is compulsory to meet. Okay, and here, what are the steps which you need to remember? First one is a person your qualifying child or the qualifying child of other taxpayer? Okay, so see, whoever is going to be claimed as a qualifying relative, first step you will check is that person a qualifying child? Okay, or a qualifying child of other taxpayer? Okay, a child isn't the qualifying child of other taxpayer if child's parent isn't required to file a US income tax return or files an income tax return just to get the refund. Okay, just for receiving a refund, if a person is filing a return, okay, and child's parent is just filing a return to get a refund, he can't be called as a qualifying child. Okay, if first step is fulfilled, if a person is a qualifying child, the person isn't a qualifying relative because he's already fulfilling QC status. What was the QC status, guys? The 4 things which we have seen, right? Relationship, residency, age, and support. If he is already fulfilling the status, other taxpayer means any other taxpayer. See, in if a person is your qualifying child or a qualifying child of any other taxpayer, let's say my sister's son, I'm claiming him as a qualifying child in my return or qualifying relative in my return. So for her, this condition will be fulfilled, that whether her own child is a dependent on other taxpayer, means her son is claimed as a qualifying child on my return, right? So think like that. Other taxpayer means anyone else. Got it, Nagraj? I hope you understood the line. Is the person your qualifying child or a qualifying child of other person? Okay, a child isn't a qualifying child of other taxpayer if child's parent or any other person whom the child is defined as a qualifying child isn't required to file a US income tax return. Okay, let's say I'm taking care of my sister's son. Okay, so that son is wholly dependent on me. I know he is a dependent for me, but if I am filing the return just to take a refund, I can't claim him as a qualifying child or qualifying relative. You just need to see, first step is whether that person is fulfilling the qualifying child test or not. If yes, straight away take that person as a qualifying child. That person can't be called as a qualifying relative. Okay, let's say the person, what was the condition? One condition was residency test. The person should be living with the taxpayer for more than half of the year. If a person is not living with the taxpayer for more than half of the year, then he will not be called as a qualifying child. Okay, Vivo phone, whatever is your name, I can't read your name. All these details were already given to you. You can just call me after the session. Okay, I can't right now answer your questions. Just call me after the session. I'll answer each and every question or any doubts which you have. Okay, right now we are into middle of concept now, so all the questions will be answered at the last of the session, so wait till end. Okay, if no, see, if no, we are going to check the second step. Was the person who is a dependent is your son, daughter, stepchild, foster child, descendant of any of them, or is the person your brother, sister, half brother, half sister, son or daughter, or any of them, or is that person a father? So can I say I'll just short down and tell it to you that whether a person is a relative or not. The definition of relative is given over here, but I have just given it in a little detailed manner, that in question, if anything comes like this, you should be remembering this thing, that son, daughter, stepchild, foster child, descendant, then brother, sister, half brother, half sister, father, mother, all this will come into your relatives definition. And was the person a step brother, step sister, stepfather, stepmother, son in law, daughter in law, father in law, mother in law, brother in law, or sister in law? So each and every relative will come under the definition of step 2 relatives. If no, if they are not your relative, then you'll go to step 3. But if they are relative, then you'll go to the step 4. Okay, let's see what are the step 3. This is just the definition of relative. Whatever relatives are listed in step 2 are considered relative who doesn't have live with you, because in first step, okay, first step you have seen that the person is not fulfilling the qualifying child status. One of the reason will be residency or maybe age. Okay, if the age is more than 19, even if that person is your own child, he cannot be called as a qualifying child, but he will fall under definition of qualifying relative. Or if you're not providing them the proper support test, okay, or if the person is not your own child, they will fall under the qualifying relative test. Age, residency, support, and own child test, okay, relationship test, these are not fulfilled, then only you're looking at the qualifying relative steps. Got it, guys? I hope this much is clear. Step 1, we have seen that the person should not be a qualifying child. I just write it down over in the short form. Second, it should be a relative. The definition of relative is given. Now, third step, we are going to check if the person is not a relative, was person, any other person who lived with you all year as a member of your household. Let's say your girlfriend is living with you in your home. Okay, so girlfriend is not a relative, girlfriend is not a qualifying child. Can I say that person is not fulfilling the second step? Okay, so you are going to check whether she is living with you for whole year. Okay, if she is not living with you for the whole year, you can't claim her as a dependent. But if she is living with you for the whole year, go to step 4, means you can claim her as a dependent. Okay, but there are certain tests which you need to check. For exam purpose, please remember these steps, because in whatever study materials I have seen, they have just given the bullet points, and or and all these things are skipped by the students. Okay, that's why I have just converted it into stepwise. Step 1, check the qualifying child. Step 2, check the relative definition. Step 3, if if the relative definition is not fulfilled, what can be done? You have to check whether you are going to have that dependent living with you for whole year or not. If they live with you for whole year, we have one more criteria. So these steps all should be fulfilled. Okay, now there are exceptions for kidnapped children, a child who born and died during the year. For them, you're not going to check the whole year criteria. Okay, if a person joined and sorry, a person uh, born in the current year, died in the same year, for them it's an exception. How he can be considered as a lived during the whole year, that is an exception. So certain temporary absences, like due to school, due to hostel, vacation, medical care, okay, etc., like this all exceptions can be considered. Divorce or separated spouse, in that case also you are going to consider the exception. If a child is not living with you for the whole year, that's fine. Okay, if you obtain final decree of divorce or separate maintenance during the year, you can't take your former spouse as a dependent. See, some people do this mistake, like let's say Mr. A and Mrs. A, they both are divorced. Now, what Mr. A is doing, Mr. A is taking Mrs. A as a dependent on his tax return, just to take the benefits, just to claim the benefits. So this thing is not allowed. Former spouse cannot be added as your dependent. Okay. Now, once you fulfill the third step, right, or you fulfill the relative definition, your fourth step is to check the check the this gross income test. Okay, by mistake here it is 2023, it should be. Okay, and 4300 till now, I think the this limit was different. Now it is 4300. You have to check that whether the gross income of that relative whom you're claiming on your return is less than 4300 or not. Okay, if yes, then go to step 5. If no, you can't claim that person as a dependent. Now this gross income will include what all things? I think I might have included a list. Okay, this gross income will include all your earned plus unearned income. Okay, Ujjwal, can you please mute yourself? Okay, see, earned and unearned. On first day, I have mentioned you a little bit definition of earned and unearned. In I think third or fourth chapter, we will see all the gross income topics. Earned means, let's say, wages, salaries, your commission income. Unearned means your interest income, social security benefit, unemployment compensation, all those on unearned income plus earned, all total you have to take into consideration. That should be less than $4,300. Okay, if no, you can't claim, like if it's more than 4300, you can't claim that person as a qualifying relative. Clear, guys? Just a minute, guys. I'm just confirming the limit. I think it is for 2023. Yeah, here it will be 4700. Just a minute. It should be 4700. Okay. Yeah. So here you just need to remember the gross income test is, yeah, 4700. Correct, Sandeep. Gross income test should be checked thoroughly. In exam, they will give you how the question will be asked. Today I'll upload some MCQs in which you will see that they'll give you a list of incomes earned by a qualifying relative. Okay, now you have to just total all the income, only gross income. Okay, you should not take any deduction or any adjustments or anything. Take the gross income and check whether it is less than 4700 or more than. If it is less than, that person is allowed to be qualified as a taken as a qualifying relative. Okay, please remember the steps should be followed from the first only. Don't directly jump to gross income test. They will give you this also and they will give you other criteria also. Make sure to check this one also whole year. Okay, next is did you provide more than half of the person's total support? Total support means now here home related any expense will not come into picture. Only and only the person's clothing, food, medical, okay, all this personal related person's expenses will come into picture. The person whom you are claiming as a dependent, that person's all expenses will be considered. Okay, and let's say that person is earning $10,000, not 10,000. I'll say he will not qualify. $3,000. Okay, now this person should not spend 50% of this income by his own pocket. Okay, so he should not spend $1,500 of expense on his own expenses. We should be spending the total 50% of expense. Now this 50%, see, usually people will make this mistake in exam. They'll just see the figures multiplied by 50%. Okay, this much should be spent by the taxpayer. No, that is incorrect. Always remember while calculating, take all the expenses. Two types of question will be there in this topic. All the expenses will be given. Okay, let's say we incurred clothing expense, we incurred food expense, we incurred medical expense, insurance expense. Okay, all these expenses, the list will be given. What you have to do a total of all expense. 50% of this expense should be incurred by you, okay, by the taxpayer. Second type of question will be given is they will give you income which is earned by the relative, and how much expense the relative is incurring. Then you have to compare it whether the relative is expending 50% or less, or 50% or more. If he's expending more than 50% of his income, he cannot be claimed as a relative. Same way, if only expenses are given, okay, just check that what is the total expense, okay, multiply by 50%. Who is expending that 50%? Taxpayer himself or the qualifying relative? Clear, guys? If this thing is not fulfilled, okay, then go to step number 6. Did another person provide more than half of the person's total support? Anyone else is providing the 50% support? Okay, if you are not providing, anyone else is providing, then you can't claim the person as a dependent. Got it? I hope this much is clear. There is a very minute difference between qualifying relative and in case of qualifying child, the support test is also there. Here, what they are mentioning, that the child should not provide his or her own support. Means either the taxpayer or anyone else can provide. But in qualifying relative, the taxpayer should only provide the 50% of the support, person's support. It is not a household support. Okay. And if the taxpayer is not providing, anyone else is providing, okay, then he cannot be called as a qualifying relative. Got it, guys? I hope now the things are clear a little bit. Let's say if you are also not providing, if other person is also not providing, then the next step is, did 2 or more people, like let's say 2 or more people are together providing this support for that child. If yes, then you need to check the multiple support arrangement. Multiple support arrangement. Clear, guys? Okay. How many of you are already pursuing EA? Like you have already done this all topics? You can just raise your hands. For part 1, I'm talking only for part 1. Okay, so everyone over here is new. Okay, no worries. See, in case of multiple support arrangement, what will happen? Let's take one example. A mother is there. She's having 3 children. Okay, A, B, and C. Now, her age is very old. Like she's of, let's say, 75 or like 80 years. Okay, let's take 80 years. So her care is being taken by either A, B, or C. So these 3 people will fight to claim their mother as a dependent, right? I will claim her as a dependent, I will claim her as a dependent, and C will say, I will claim her as a dependent. The thing is, they need to check one criteria. If all the 3 are providing the expense for her care, okay, they need to either mutually decide who will claim her as a dependent. Take her total expenses, okay, and see who is providing more than 50% of her total expense. Okay, and let's say A is providing 10%, C is providing just 8% of expense, and rest whole is being provided by A. So A can claim her as a dependent. C is out of picture because he is anyways providing less than 10%. At least 10% if you are providing, then you will fall under the calculation tool. Okay, calculation of who is providing the highest support. Got it, guys? So, did you provide more than 10% of person's total support for the year? If yes, so if no, C cannot anyways claim her mother as a dependent. But B and C are still under the competition. Let's see who can claim it. Did other person providing more than 10% of total support, means Mr. A, for the year, provide you with a signed statement agreeing not to claim as a dependent? If A is claiming, I am not going to claim a dependent, he will have to file a signed agreement and file 2120 form, that is multiple support agreement. If he is not signing the form, then he will only be eligible to take the dependent on their tax return. Clear, guys? I hope the steps are clear. Any confusion? When you read it 3-4 times, it will be more clear. This is just a one reading. And I've just explained the things to you. You have to do the self reading also. It should not be like that during these 45 days you don't do a self study. Just come to the session, solve MCQ later on, again come to the session. No, one time reading is important. Whatever we are studying, one time reading is most important. Okay, you might interpret in a different way. What if these three are contributing equally? Okay, so let's say all the three are contributing equal percentage. Then they will have to mutually decide who is going to claim mother as a dependent. The rest of the two will have to file 2120 form and say that we are not going to claim her as a dependent. Mr. A is claiming. Okay, let's say this both are having more than 10%. Okay, and A is also having more than 10%. All the three, or let's say 4 child are there. So all 4 child are spending 25%. They will have to mutually decide, and other 3, only 1% can claim. The rest 3 will is going to file form 2120, right? Vivo phone, again I am mentioning, like I have shared the Google Classroom link. If by any chance you have not received the link, you can just send me a message on WhatsApp. I'll forward you the link. In that Google Classroom, only all the lectures, all the MCQs, everything are uploaded. And this is the demo lecture. Like today is the last session for the demo. From tomorrow, the link will change. Those who are planning to enroll, please connect with me today only. Okay, and those who have already enrolled, they will receive a new link. Those who are planning to enroll, connect with me so that today we can complete your enrollment process, and from tomorrow you can join in with our regular lectures. Okay, and regarding timings, if you have any issues, if you're in other time zone, those are watching the recorded session, connect with me for that also. We can figure out something for the timings also. Okay, so see here, 9-step process you need to go through to check whether a person is a qualifying relative or not. In any other material, if you see, this qualifying relative definition is just given in a paragraph format. Why we are doing it stepwise? So that you should not miss any of this step. If you forgot to see this whole year criteria, your answer will be wrong. If you forgot to see this $4,700 gross income criteria, your answer will be wrong. If they are giving you in the exam question the multiple support agreement and everything, okay, you will get confused because that was not there in the qualifying relative. But here we have included everything in a stepwise manner. Okay, some extra points which is not included in the above step. Adopted child will be treated as the same as a natural child. They will be treated as a qualifying child only for the purpose of determining whether the person is related to you in any of this way. Okay, for example, an adopted brother or a sister is your brother or sister. Adopted child includes a child who was lawfully placed in person of legal adoption. Okay, if you adopt your brother and sister, they will be called as your brother and sister only. The relation will remain same only. If you have legally adopted your child, okay, any child for whom legally you are the parents, they will be called as your child. Okay, second thing is, person doesn't meet the test if any time during the year relationship between you and that person violates the law. Okay, so let's say in some states or some countries, some times the relationship test is important. If your parent and child relationship is not accepted in that country, if you have illegally adopted the child, so your relationship is not considered as a valid as a child. Okay, for the purpose of this test, gross income of individual, yeah, now here the definition of individual is given. Gross income of individual who is permanently and totally disabled at any time during the year, doesn't include income from service of individual perform as a at a sheltered house, sheltered workshop. So based on this, I have seen one MCQ. What they will do is, one person was permanently disabled. Now he was working in a some sheltered home, sheltered house, where many disabled person were working, and he was earning some small amount of income from that. So since it's an income, you can't include it in the gross income. Okay, because he's earning it being a disabled person. Okay, it should be permanent and total disabled. Temporary disabled person is earning wages, that is their gross income, you can't exclude that. But if a person is permanently totally disabled and is working at some sheltered workshop and is earning something, that is not taken into calculation for gross income. Okay, now what all things are included in gross income? Gross income means all income the person received in the form of money, goods, property and service that isn't exempt from tax. Means all your interest, dividend, right, wages, tip income, commission. If you're doing business income, if you're earning rental income, everything will be considered in your gross income. Only one exception is, doesn't include social security benefit unless the person is married, filing a separate return, and live with the spouse at any time during the year, or if half of the social security benefit plus the gross income and tax exempt interest is more than this. I'll just explain here. The whole SSB concept is coming into picture. What is happening? You just need to remember, include all gross income except social security benefit. Okay, this social security benefit will be included if a person is filing a MFS return plus the person is living with the spouse at any time, during the year. Clear, guys? This we will see again when we do the SSB topic. This is the limit for calculating the social security benefit. The SSB limits have not been changed. It is same, 25,000 and 32,000. Calculation, we will be doing it properly when we do the SSB chapter. You just need to remember that if a person, if in question paper it's given, the list of incomes will be given, and they will also give social security benefit. Okay, and in that case, what will happen? All the incomes and everything will be given. You have to calculate it properly. Out of that, you have to just remember one thing: SSB will not be included. They have given except SSB. So if they have given unemployment compensation, that is also included in your income. Interest income, yes. Dividend, yes. Okay, any passive related income, yes. Business income, rent income, wages, commission, everything will be included except social security benefit. But the exception is, if in any way, if they twist the question, they'll not do this in exam. But Vivo phone, I am just explaining the concept. As I mentioned, I tell this all the things, right? At the end of the session, since it's the last day of the demo session, I'll mention everything at the last. Okay. So first of all, please rename yourself. It's showing as just Vivo phone. I'm not able to address you properly. Okay. So SSB benefit, there will be one exception if a person is filing as a MFS. Okay. And if a person is living with the spouse at any time during the year. Okay, so in that case, you need to consider SSB into your gross income. Please remember this. This is most important. In case if they give you a very complex question, this kind of twist can come into the picture. Okay. And second thing is what they are saying, or anytime during the tax year, if half of your SSB plus other gross income plus tax exempt interest, if this is going more than 25K or 32K, 32K is for MFJ. Okay, if this is going more than this two amounts, what will happen? Again, the SSB will be included in your gross income. Got it, guys? So this is the concept of our qualifying child and qualifying relative. Thoroughly, you don't have to look at any other material or any other concept. Just do this 9 step and read this three things, three exceptions, three additions, I can say, and that's it for the qualifying relative topic. Okay. Okay, so I'll answer now everyone's question. Vivo, for now, whatever you have asked is mock will be provided. Yes, at the end of all the lectures, 3 to 4 mock test papers will be provided, which will cover almost 100 to 400 questions. Okay, per mock we will have 100 questions. Other study material, no, we are going to provide my own material only. This is my own material which you will receive. Okay, everything will be in a simplified manner so that you can remember it properly. Other study material, previous year we have used claim material, but the language in the claim material is little bit tough. So this year we have converted the material into a simple language. Okay, and what were your other questions? All the MCQs will be provided to you through the Google Classroom right now for demo session. Since you have enrolled for demo, you can just text me on WhatsApp. I'll share you the link. 3 lectures and MCQs are uploaded for the topics which are done in 3 days. Okay, got it? So what are the other question, guys? Any other question, anyone? See, this is the qualify. All these things, like whatever I'm teaching right now, I'll upload it. Yeah, Zeba, I'll just share it in the chat box. 160203. Yeah. Here I'll just share this PDF of first chapter. Okay, till this our first chapter is completed, till multiple support agreement. Again, those who are not there in our first session, this is the book which we are going to use. Okay, and this is updated as per 23 tax law. Wherever there is a limit change, we have highlighted it in green color like this for your quick reference. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, so this is our index, like, which we are going to follow. This chapter is done. From tomorrow we are going to start with the credits chapter. Okay, because in credits chapter there are again so many criterias, limits and everything which are linked to the qualifying child and qualifying all the child related credits. See, these are all child related credits. Here you can easily link the criterias of qualifying child and qualifying relative. Okay, once the credits are done, we will jump to the gross income. In gross income, all the gross incomes which are shown on 1040 return will be explained over here. Means here you just need to analyze what will be included in return and what will be excluded in return, what are the exceptions. Okay, all these 3 things you need to remember while doing the gross income chapter. Third one is business income and losses. Then I have taken the schedules, schedule C, schedule D. When you look at the 1040 form, you might have seen the schedules. Okay, schedule D is for capital gain and loss. If you sell any asset or if you sell any shares and securities, how the gain will be calculated, whether it should be a long term, it should be a short term. It's 1231 gain, 1245 gain, or 1250 gain. Okay, then we have some passive income, that is rental, that we will do it properly. And loss limitation in all these 3 businesses, schedule C, schedule E, and our active loss. If we have a loss, how it will be set off. Okay, that will be done in chapter 7. Then we have adjustment to income, and then itemize or standard deduction. And then the last 4 chapters are actually not that much important, but yeah, this one, gift and estate tax, is a little bit important. It will be there in part 2 as well. Part 1 plus part part 1 plus part 2, it will be there. Okay, and we have kept the foreign related topic last only. We are not going to mix up anything in our regular course. Okay, first complete everything and then we will follow the sequence, like taking the foreign transaction related topic at the last. Who is eligible to file F bar, what is foreign financial asset, what are foreign tax credit. I think credit will be there over here only, foreign tax credit. Yeah, here foreign tax credit is easy, we'll take it along with credit, but rest all foreign topics will be taken at the last. Okay guys, so any question from today's session, anyone, since today was the last day, anyone who has not enrolled, if you have any doubt query, you can ask it right now. We still have 3-4 minutes. Okay, great. So I'll upload the recordings on the Google Classroom. Still, if you're confused, you can go through the recording, you can go through the MCQs and everything, and then let me know if you have any questions. Okay. So thank you guys. We'll meet tomorrow again at same time, 7:30 a.m. Okay, till Friday we'll keep the same timing. If you guys have any issues with the timing, please connect with me so that we can mutually decide the timings for our morning session. Okay, thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye.